All right, people. So I finished reading a book called, it was written by Ventura. And I want to do a quick review here. It was detailing the events of the JFK assassination and proving that it was, in fact, a conspiracy or an inside job, government job, whatever you want to call it. It's a really good book, kind of compiling all the information about the murder and really exposing it as a fraud. A good history lesson, I guess, if you want to call it, a good book. So I kind of want to refer people, go read it. I read it on iBooks. It's a good book again. It's just a good, and it also sources the information too, so you could look up the sources. That's cool. And it also provides links throughout there, like YouTube clips. I didn't look at those really, but I mean, it's definitely a good book, a definite read, and something that actually is, fucking pertains to history. It's not a fucking sports book or a wrestling book or some other book. It's actually a book that is about history and real events, current events, and it pertains to current events. Not about, obviously it's not a current event, JFK, but it pertains to current events, and it could be used to apply it to today to expose our criminal government and just the whole system of the New World Order. I mean, look at what JFK did. He didn't want to go to all these wars. He was outspoken about secret societies. He was totally against, the globalists and totally against just going to, nuclear war. You could say he's a fucking, lifesaver because even Khrushchev, you could hate him because he's a commie, but, JFK and Khrushchev, I mean, if it wasn't for them, I mean, this world could be filled with nuclear, fallout or radiation, whatever. Because, all their generals really, Jesse talked about this in the book, kind of really wanted to go to war. And, actually JFK, after he left the meeting, they were talking about, like nuclear shit, let's nuke the Russians. And then, after the meeting, JFK walked out and he's like, yeah, we call ourselves the human race. So, I mean, it was a good book. Yeah, I definitely recommend it. The next book I'm going to read, I think, maybe, I was looking at World Order by Henry Kissinger. A known fucking, Henry Kissinger, he even says New World Order. He even calls for a New World Order in quotes. He even says, I remember the clip, it was on, I think, like CNBC. It's like, with this financial crisis, this is a perfect time for Obama to institute a New World Order. He talks about it openly, having a New World Order. And this whole, World Order book that I was reading some of the previews and shit, it's pretty much about forming a one world government. I mean, it's right out in the open now. I mean, you could just fucking, right out in the open. And Hillary Clinton said it was a great book. And so I kind of want to read it. Again, I've said this before in my video. I remember, I was making a video on American Sniper. And I'm like, just because you read Mein Kampf by Adolf Hitler does not mean you endorse it, but you got to get into the minds of the globalists. You got to get into their minds to figure out what they are thinking and what their plans are. You got to get into the minds of these horrible people. So I might read that. I might look at some of the books by Rockefeller. I don't know if Rothschild wrote books. Maybe Soros. Zbigniew Brzezinski, I know, wrote some books. So I don't know. I'll have to see. I know Ventura's written a few books, and so hopefully, I could figure out what kind of book I'm going to read next. But yeah, there's your fucking review there of Jesse Ventura's book. Again, it was called 63 Reasons to Prove what was it? 63 Reasons to Prove There Was a Conspiracy to Kill JFK. Good book. Check it out. There you go, people.